Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's the day after a holiday, so always hard to keep track of whether it is Monday or Tuesday. But I wanted to jump on and talk about something, a conversation that I got into in a Facebook group with somebody this morning. And I thought, you know what? This is something everyone needs to hear. So I'm going to wait just a few seconds, let a few of you hop on live because I don't want to dive into it too fast and then you all aren't here when I tell you the big secret. So if you are hopping on live, say hi because I want to ask you guys a question about speaking before I tell you what I think is that big, like number one thing that's keeping every single one of you. I don't care who you are, what you do. I don't even really have to know who's on here to know that this is the one thing holding you back, because it's the one thing holding everyone back. There's no doubt in my mind that it is the number one problem you have if you want to be speaking more and you're not. I know this from clients I've worked with, people I've talked to about working with. Like I said, I had a conversation in a Facebook group about it this morning. That's how I know it's the number one problem, because I identify it over and over and over when I talk to people about speaking. Okay, so if you're here live, say hi. I'm waiting for the Facebook gods to trickle my live out to everyone. Okay, and if you're watching this, I'm using a service that simulcasts this on my personal profile and in my Facebook group. So if you want to say hi, you want to comment, you want to ask questions, come find the live stream over on my business page, Guide My Brand. It's just facebook.com/Guide My Brand. And that way I'll see your comments when they come in. Okay. So let's talk about the number one thing I think is holding you back from getting those speaking gigs. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think is holding you back? But in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it is, because I know what it is. It's that you're not putting yourself out there for speaking gigs. It really is that simple. Every single person, when they tell me I want to speak at this event, or I want to speak at this conference, or I really wish this group would have me speak, or hey, I attended this last year and gosh, it would be awesome to be a speaker at that event. When I ask them, have you pitched yourself for that? Have you gone through their speaker's application if they have one? Or have you reached out to ask them how they choose speakers? When I ask people those questions, the answer is always no. Every time. It's very rare that I end up in a conversation with someone who's telling me how much they want to get out there and speak more, that when I say, hey, are you putting yourself out there? Are you pitching yourself? Are you filling out applications? Are you sending out your one sheet? Are you asking how they choose speakers? Rarely does anyone ever tell me yes, because the people who are doing that, they're getting the speaking gigs. It's that simple. I just did a huge round of pitching for a client probably a month ago, a little over a month ago. We identified like 20 events coming up over the next year that would be a good fit for her and for her message, and would put her in front of her ideal client. She didn't care about getting paid to speak at the events, which is like a whole nother story about how you approach finding those. She just wanted to get out there and speak more. And so we went through and found the events, we calendared the dates, and we looked to see, are they open for speaking proposals? And if they're not, do they have a date when they're going to be open? And if we couldn't find that, then we were just cold emailing them and saying, hey, we've got a client who would be amazing for your event or conference. She's very interested in being a speaker. Do you have a formal process? Like some places will do what they call a call for proposals or a call for speakers. And it's during that time period that you would apply. Some of them have a very formal application that you fill out. Some of them you are just sending them your one sheet, or you're sending them an email pitch. So every organization's going to be different. What you want to find out is, how do they do it? Because quite often they don't have a formal process. And when you reach out about an event, like some of the events I was reaching out about, it is September now, they were in like February or March. And when I emailed, they've already booked all their speakers. It's already booked out. And so I said, great, well, how do you usually find your speakers? Do you have a formal process where you open up for speakers? If they say yes, then I ask them, can I get on a list for next year where I'll know when that time period opens? so that I can apply for my client. And if they don't have a formal process, then I say, what time of year would be best for me to send you more information on my client? It's that simple. You just ask. If you're watching right now and you want to be speaking more, drop me a comment and let me know, are you doing this? Are you reaching out to the conferences, events, organizations that you want to speak to and asking them how they book speakers? Are you doing that? I bet most of you aren't. And it's not just those of you who are watching this live. I think most people who I talk to and who are in my audience aren't doing that. But you have to. That is how you get the speaking engagements. I had one a couple of years ago, and this happens all the time, but I remember this one off the top of my head, where I identified a sort of local organization I wanted to speak in front of that was full of entrepreneurs, and it was local, so easy to get to. I don't really care about getting a speaking fee. I wanted to get out and meet more people in my area. And so I emailed them. I saw that they had a speaker every month during the summer, and I emailed them and I said, how do you choose your speakers? I'd love more information because I'd be very interested in speaking to your group in the future. You'll let me know what your process is and I'd be happy to send over more information on myself. And they emailed me back, I think within hours, and said, oh my gosh, we just had a cancellation for our speaker next month. If you're free on this date, we'd love to have you. That was it. At that point, they actually didn't even know that much about me. They had clicked on my website and learned a little more. It's not like they were just willing to book anybody. But I didn't send my one sheet. I never come at people in that first email. Unless I found something on their website that said, here's the email address to send materials about being a speaker for our upcoming event, then I'd go ahead and send materials. But if I'm just reaching out cold to find out, how do they even choose their speakers? Do they open for formal applications and proposals, or do you just have to know somebody? When I'm just trying to gather information about how they choose their speakers, I just send an email and give a very brief introduction of myself. I'm not sending my one sheet. I'm not sending my speaking reel. Guess what? This is what you all get stuck on. I know it. I know you're not going to admit it, but I know every single one of you gets stuck on your speaker's reel. I don't have one. I have never had one. I have spoken for a decade. I have made over 6 figures speaking. I'll have to add it up. It may be multiple 6 figures at this point. I have never had a speaking reel. Never. Don't even have one in the works. Okay? Do not get hung up on having to have a speaker's reel. Now, are there times when people will ask for one? Yes. And when people do, I will send them a variety of things. I might send them a full speech that I have, or I might send them a Facebook Live I did that was on a related topic. They just want to see that you're comfortable speaking and that you have some presence, you have some personality, or some flexion in your voice. You use your hands like I am. They want to see that you're going to be entertaining if you get up there. Now, is it great to have a reel? Sure. And I've thought about having one, but quite honestly, just haven't needed one. And I don't want that to be the thing that's stopping you from putting yourself out there for speaking, because it is not the thing that's stopping you. I promise. The thing that's stopping you is that you aren't telling people you want to come speak to their organization or at their event or at their conference. That is what's holding you back. 100%, that is what is keeping you from getting speaking. It's not your reel or anything else. Now, I would advise having a one sheet, and that's something that I teach in my group program. In fact, in my group program, I have a template in Canva that I give folks to use for their one sheet, and it's what I use for my Done For You clients as well. But you can probably, dig around the internet and find some speaker one sheets. There are a couple different ways to do it. You can do one that lists several topics that you speak on, or you can have a one sheet for each topic that digs a little bit deeper, and then you just send the one sheet that's for the topic that's appropriate for the group that you're approaching. But in that first email, when you're just trying to figure out, hey, I really want to speak at ABC event, how in the heck do you become a speaker? You email and ask them. That's how you become a speaker. Look on their website first, because some of the bigger events and organizations will have information on their website about how to apply to speak at a future event. So make sure it's not there, so that when you email someone, they're not like, yeah, there's a whole page on our website about it, or yeah, the application's right on the front page of our website. Don't ask a question you can easily find the answer to, but you're going to find that a lot of the places you want to speak do not have something on their website, and you're going to cold email them. Okay, nod your head for me. Drop me a yes in the comments. Yes, I am going to cold email because that is how you're going to get the speaking gigs. I promise you, is by finding out how they choose their speakers and then going through that process, whether that's a formal application or many, many, many times you are going to find they're just going to email you back and say, tell me more about yourself or tell me more about the topics that you speak on. Okay, now the door's open. Now we send them our one sheet. If you have a reel, fantastic. Send them a link to the reel. If you don't, do not worry about it. And you're going to tell them what value you're going to bring to their audience, okay? Because even if you're doing this for you because you want to book more clients or you want to get paid to speak, you want to sell your book, okay? The gatekeeper cares that you are providing value to their audience. So the number one thing that has to be in any pitch, including when we're talking about the speaking pitch, is what value are you bringing to their audience? What is their audience going to learn from you? What are they going to walk away and be able to implement after they listen to you speak? That is the key factor that determines whether they're going to let you in front of their audience or not, okay? Unless every once in a while you're going to hit an event that's going to want you to pay, and that's what they care about the most, is that you're willing to pay. I don't speak at those kind of events, okay? I speak at events where they want me to come and bring the value, because I do. I bring the value, and I prove that when I email them back. When I get that email where they say, you know, tell me more about yourself or tell me about the things that you speak on, I send my one sheet as an attachment, and in the email, I'm selling them on the value I'm bringing to their audience. I'm telling them exactly what their audience is going to walk away with, knowing how to do or being motivated or inspired to do. I'm very specific about that because that is what will get them to say yes. All right. If you've got any questions, drop me those in the comments. But the most important thing about speaking, and the number one thing I hope you take away from this, is to get speaking engagements, you got to ask for them. Make the ask. And if you're afraid to do that, let's talk a little bit more, okay? Because that is what's holding you back from getting speaking. Every single one of you. I know that that's what it is. And I want to help you get past it. All right? So I hope everybody starts putting together their wish list of those conferences and events or organizations you want to speak in front of, and you start looking around on their website to see how they choose their speakers. If that's not very apparent on their website, you're finding an email address on the website, you're emailing, and you are asking them, how do you choose speakers? I'm very interested in speaking at a future event. It's that simple, guys. So simple, okay? I want to see you out there doing it. I want you to report back to me and tell me how it goes, all right? Good luck and happy pitching.